Welcome back to the Sound for More channel. Today I have the pleasure to introduce you to one of the first synths included in FL Studio. Before I continue, I would like to remind my viewers to subscribe as it helps with growing the channel. Thank you very much. Okay, let's select File, New from Template and select Empty, and we click No because we don't want to save any changes. So we have the channel rack already in view, but if you don't, click on this icon here and you have that available. Right click on the sampler, go to Replace, and then scroll down where it says Synth Classic, and the top one is 3x Oscillator. Let's put it right there on the middle of the screen. So as you can see, it's pretty basic as a synth, but it has been used so much in more than 1 million projects with FL Studio. So it's truly remarkable. So let's listen. Now, as you can hear, it's clipping a little bit, so let's decrease the volume. Okay, that's a little bit better. We decrease it a little bit more as well. And in upcoming tutorial, I'm going to show you how to do that in different ways, of course. So as you can see, you have 3 oscillators, as the name says, 3x oscillator. 1, 2, 3. And by default, it doesn't come with any preset. You can randomize, of course, but you have a default preset, which is what you hear at the moment. Now, first of all, you can see that the 3 oscillators are, in terms of controls, identical, with the exception that the first one does have this control here. Indeed, this control here, as the tooltip says, it's the oscillator 2 mix level, and this one is the oscillator 3 mix level. So there is not an oscillator 1 mix level. Now, if you look at this, it says oscillator mix level 50%, and this one is oscillator mix level 25%. So if I turn this down, oscillator number 3 will be down to 0. So we hear only oscillator 1 and oscillator number 2. And oscillator number 2 is a 50%. So it will share 50% of the volume with the oscillator number 1. So as soon as I increase the level of oscillator number 3, so it's a relatively increase, not an absolute. So they will share the level within the mix, the final mix. Okay, now let's listen to only oscillator number 1, so we turn the oscillator number 2 off as well. So as you can see, you have a sound wave here as a default. You can go to square, of course. Run this square. You can load one as well. I will show you that in an upcoming tutorial, but you can load the waveform and use that from the sampler. Next one is triangle. So, and the noise, of course. Now, this symbol here is to invert the phase. Indeed, if you select sine here and sine also on oscillator number 2, and then you ensure that the coarse tuning is set to the same, and you invert the phase of oscillator number 2, and you set the volume to 50 here. If you now press key, as you can see I'm pressing key, there is no sound because they are effectively, because what the second one is inverted is actually as the 2 waveforms are added up, they cancel each other. So there is no sound. And if you change the fine tuning, which is the second control, and the first one is the coarse tuning, right? The first one is in semitone. As soon as you change it, you start to hear sound. Okay, but you can also do in cent in terms of fine tuning. Of course, you can also do it in another way. Here at the bottom, you have phase randomization, so stereo phase randomness, which you can increase. And as you start to play with different levels, you can hear the phase moving within the stereo channel. And of course, you start to hear the sound now. Now, you have two more controls. The first one, IQ, high quality anti-LAS oscillators, really nice. And again, you don't hear anything because we have inverted the phase, so let's remove that. And let's lower this by, for example, 12 semitones, like so. These controls here, you can adjust the panning. At the moment, they're all set to the center, but of course, you can move it to the left and to the right. Of course, depending if you want to hear it better, just have one oscillator, one on. Okay, so that is straightforward. Okay. Now, the two sliders in the middle, the first one, they're both stereo. The first one is a phase offset, and the second one is a stereo detuning, so stereo offset. And let's remove this oscillator number 2. You should hear that there is an offset. You can see when you move it, by the way, to 0 in the middle, you have this line which becomes right. The similar here to the controls. When you go to the middle here, it highlights, so it's a nice guide. The tuning, of course, stereo again. Of course, both direction. Of course, you can mix all of them and create something unique. Now, there is an additional mode, which is amplitude modulation. So oscillator 3 is used to modulate oscillator 1 and 2. You can hear when I set the volume, the level, the mix level of oscillator number 3, there's no modulation. As soon as I increase it, and of course I can play now with the tuning as well. Bit of phase randomization as well. And of course we can change now waveforms on the other oscillators. Really nice. Of course, you can then adjust even further. So you can use noise, for example, as amplitude modulation. course, you can use different configuration in terms of semitones to create a little bit of a harmony, if you like. So let's remove the amplitude modulation. So now it's playing 3 different notes, of course, as you press only one note on your external controller, and therefore it's playing a chord, right? Of course, you could set it to 3 here for a minor, and then perhaps 7 here, this one to 0. And then we set these to third minor, 3 semitones, and this other one up at 7. So we go to the 5th. Nice. So there's a lot of versatility, although it is just a simple 3 times oscillator. Now, you don't see anything there for envelope or even filter, and that is what we are going to cover in an upcoming tutorial when we talk about synth wrappers. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and as always, see you next time. Bye.